Hey guys, happy weekend, and I'm doing a lot better, as you can probably see, just even by physical appearance, and since my last videos, so I thought it was only fitting that I talk about something that's been a little bit more of a positive impact in my life today, and that's going to be counselling. Counselling, therapy, and something that a lot of you commenters and subscribers and general YouTube people have reached out and asked about, and that is my experiences with cognitive behavioural therapy, which I've spoken about briefly in previous videos, but people want to hear a little bit more about, so I'll touch on that as well. So I'm going to start off just by talking about my personal experiences with counselling, and just give a little bit of general advice from what I've experienced. And my first ever counselling experience was in high school. We had a high school counsellor, but one that I didn't really see very often. I felt like he was possibly part-time, as he wasn't always in, and you sort of had to be referred by teachers to go and see that counsellor. And so we didn't really get to build up a very great rapport, just because I didn't see him very often. And it's really important to, I think, have regular meetings, so maybe once a week, see your counsellor once a week, just so you can keep them up to date on how your life is going, and so that you can manage those emotions on a weekly basis, and those feelings and everything that you're going through on a weekly basis with your counsellor. I feel like that's really important. Also, I feel like having that rapport with the counsellor is really important, and so my advice would be to you, if you feel that you're not gelling, or that your personality types are clashing, or whether it be that you're not comfortable with the person for any other reason, be it religious, a reason of gender, any other reason, it's really important that you be comfortable with that person. So please do, even if it takes a few extra weeks just to get on that waiting list again, please do reach out and change your counsellor, because it's not worth sticking with someone that you're not going to be comfortable with. And that would be my advice there, because I've had to do that before, just because it was a case of us not really fully understanding one another, and it's really important that you do, just so you can get the most out of the experience. So yeah, that counsellor and I didn't have a great relationship, and the other person I was referred to during my high school years was an art therapist, or rather a group of art therapists that me and my friends saw, I think only several times, because I really wasn't willing to stick it out. I did not like these people at all. They were it was almost like you were being interviewed. It was like an interrogation, and they did not really grasp the concept of confidentiality either, as they wrote several letters to my parents, addressed to my parents, not addressed to me, about how I was doing in the counselling. And I really had issue with that, because it was my personal journey. And yes, I was going through high school, so I was under the age of 18, but still, I have my rights there, I think, to my own privacy and my own experiences of mental health that I had to go through before telling anyone else. And so I felt like there was a real breach of trust there that meant I couldn't really build a rapport with those counsellors either. My next experience of counselling was through university, and that was slightly better. The counsellors were really understanding there. You could go to them about any issue and they wouldn't minimise it. So whether it be a relationship issue, a job crisis, they always made it clear that you could speak to your personal academic tutor. If you're in university, I'm sure you have something similar to a guidance teacher or a personal academic tutor, and they are there to speak to just about issues you're having even in your personal life. They want to support you in any way you can, so please reach out to them or a counsellor. The only issue there was that there is quite a waiting list, and sometimes you would have to wait long lengths of time to get put on any sort of waiting list to see a counsellor in that regard. So I would say that was a mostly positive experience for me, university counselling. And the best experience I've had of counselling has been in my adult life. And that was after my GP recommended I go on counselling. If you live in Edinburgh, I can give you resources if you reach out to me, because I have a whole long list that I'm not just going to list off here, or I might pop it in the description of this video. But I gave me a big long list, and all the free services. Again, there was massive queues, which seems to be a bit of an issue in mental health in Scotland, but that's just because so many people are requiring the services, so maybe more services is the answer there. Anyway, so the free services had quite a long list, so I went through one that works by donation, which I do realise is not a opportunity for everyone. Not everyone will be able to do that. But at the same time, I really feel I benefit from that experience of going to that counsellor, and so I ended up, paying them a weekly sort of charitable donation. And I built up a really good rapport as I was seeing the lady weekly with that lady, and I think it was a 12-week block, which is a really good length of time, I felt, as well. It was the Pastoral Foundation counselling that I went to, and they were really great. They're based here in Edinburgh, and I just feel that the counselling that I had there really helped me to sort of on a weekly basis unpack the extremities of my depression and my anxiety, which at the time I wasn't really getting any help for apart from my GP, who had made it quite clear that obviously you only get a 10-minute appointment. You're not there to unpack all of your emotional needs and to talk about things in great depth. And I was really lacking that kind of outlet in my life. And so counselling really gave me that outlet in my life, which was great for me. And we ended up having a great relationship as well. And she really helped me to see things from a really unique perspective, which really helped me. Things that I was situations I was quite close to, things that I would be overanalyzing and overthinking and getting extremely anxious to the point of panic attacks in my life. She would really help me to look at and analyze from a different perspective, which really helped me. So yes, that's all my experiences with counselling, I believe, until this point. I've now finished off with that counselling block, but they've made it clear that I can always go back and contact them again should I need, so it's good to know what there is in your area. Just do a quick Google search or ask your GP and they'll be able to recommend you something. My GP recommended to me and referred me for Cognitive Behavioural Therapy, and a bit of a trigger warning here, it was specifically to address things around my eating and my eating habits and my behaviours around eating and my thoughts around eating. So it was to tackle my bulimia nervosa, and basically the point of cognitive behavioural therapy and other talking therapies, there are many available if your GP was to refer you to any. There's psychotherapy, cognitive behavioural therapy, there are peer support groups for a multitude of groups, people going through maybe similar traumas, people going through similar behavioural things like I was. There's always things in your area and your GP can recommend you all of those. But for me, cognitive behavioural therapy was all about the practical, whereas psychotherapy is more understanding where those emotions come from. My cognitive behavioural therapy was about identifying what triggers me, what foods is it that I am stamping a moral value on, that I'm thinking, oh, this is a bad food, this is something that gives me the fear. Or what is it that I'm seeing on TV or hearing people say that is triggering my reactions and the way that I'm reacting, and how can I react instead? What gives me a positive boost? How can I maybe avoid that kind of stimulus in my life? And not all the things will work for you, not all the suggestions will work for you, so you don't have to take them all on board. For me, recording everything that I ate in a food diary, that didn't particularly work for me. But everything else, the recognising of triggers, as I've spoken about in previous videos, was particularly useful for me. And yeah, so I feel like I really did benefit from that. And if you have any further questions, please do ask away in the comments and I'll be happy to answer those. But counselling has been a really positive thing for me, and I feel like it's really helped me on my mental health journey and helped me to understand myself and my emotions a lot more. So yeah, that's all for this week, and I'll see you soon. Thanks very much. Thanks for watching. And thanks for all the support, guys. Love you.